Good evening, candidates. Good evening. Yeah. Good evening, candidates. This is regarding EPFO interview. And yeah, let me try to share some pages for you. And yeah, here EPFO. What are the nature of questions that are asked normally in EPFO interview is what we are going to discuss now. I have received a set of questions regarding this from a candidate who has been kind enough to share that with us. And yeah, so let me try to give you that EPFO. EPFO. Yeah, but normally in interviews of this nature, what is needed is that you must be able to answer questions relating to yourself, then based on your CV and based on your native place, etc. So that is what you must be able to answer correctly. Here, a candidate has sent me a list of questions that the candidate feels may be raised in an interview of this nature. Let me try to share that with you. Yeah. Now, but of course, for attending this interview, you will have to go through EPFO website thoroughly. And yeah, EPFO website you must be able to go through thoroughly so that you can answer the questions. First question is, what are the functions of EPFO? What are the functions of EPFO? This is one question I think we discussed on the other day also. Yeah, we discussed on the other day also. Yeah. Various programs, schemes of EPFO, critical analysis of these schemes, and what are the problems faced by EPFO. And another question can be like this. Another set of questions can be difference between EPFO, and LIC. Difference between EPFO and LIC. Difference between PF GPF and insurance, difference between PPF, EPF and NPS. This itself is a big question. Neeraj Kumar, welcome. Neeraj Kumar, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Good morning, sir. I'm fine, sir. What about you, sir?
First class. Very good. Neeraj Kumar of, you are now in Bihar, na? Or Jharkhand?
Bihar, sir.
Bihar. Good. Now, since our meeting last, what are the extra things you have studied? What are the things you have studied? Or if you want me to put some specific questions, can you tell some of the important news reports you have read recently, especially on GST? In the aspect of GST, what is the news report that is coming? Excuse me, did you read or not?
Yes, sir. I have read little about it. In the last few months, GST collection has increased rapidly. Like in the GST collection for the month of October, I think it was the second largest collection that has happened in last few years. Okay. So, sir, it has an increasing trend. So, because of like some normalcy after pandemic, this has happened.
Supposing I put GST current affairs. No. The reason I wanted to ask you is that there was a recent report that GST was revised from 5% to 12% for certain commodities. I hope you are aware of that. Perhaps you have not read that. See, in the matter of textiles and other areas, at present GST rate is 5%, whereas they wanted it to be revised to 12%, because in order to improve the sale. But then there was a lot of objection from various states, and after listening to that, the government has kept it in abeyance. They are not putting it into implementation. So that is a very important news. I think even I saw it in Hindustan Times. Also. So yeah. And this is what I read. And another important news was that about India winning that South African test match. Did you read about that? No, possibly.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. India has beaten South Africa by 113 runs.
113 runs. Good. Who was the man of the match? Any idea?
No, sir. Sorry, sir.
No problem. Absolutely no issue. Yeah. So likewise, no, but another thing I came across is one of the emails is that about, these are the headings that are, see, Economic Times, they send you some reports that will tell you the position in which the economy is moving. And in that, they are telling about the names of mutual funds which are doing very well now in the market. This information will be of use for you for next few months. You can note down. Canara Robeco, ROBECO, Blue Chip Equity Fund, Direct Growth. The name of the scheme is that way. Canara Robeco. Perhaps it is done by Canara Mutual Fund. Blue Chip Equity. That means they will be investing only in blue chips. And in the last 3 years, it has grown by 22.39%.
Okay, sir.
Then Axis Blue Chip Fund, Direct Plan Growth, Axis, obviously, you know, it is Axis Bank.
Yeah.
It has grown by 20.67%. And there is one more, Invesco, 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 India Large Cap Fund, that has improved by 19.80%. So first three only I have told you. Likewise, this information is available in say Economic Times, December 31, under ET investment opportunities. Okay.
Okay, sir.
That's right. Just a information, but anytime it may be of use for us. Yeah. And here the next one. Similarly, other mutual funds, market moving triggers, these catalysts could make Sensex deliver double-digit returns. The BSE Sensex is ending the year with a 20% gain as compared with 15.75% in the year 2020 and 14.37% from during 2019. Just this information will be sufficient to know that during the year 2021, Bombay Stock Exchange Sensex has grown by 20%, whereas the growth was of the order of 15.75 in 2020 and 14.37 during 2019. Yeah, so this is what, and here they are quoting that SBI FMP, there is a mutual, there is investment scheme, debt equity investment scheme, SBI FMP series. So they may be able to improve the performance in 2022. Okay, so now I was giving you certain questions there. Now, can you answer this question? What do you think are the problems faced by EPFO? How can we answer this? Actually, I have not come across any definite data on this, but based on news reports, etc., what can we tell about this? Yeah.
So the most problem that I can
Think
say is that, yeah, like this is for old age people, and most of the time we see that on behalf of them, somebody else or unknown person used to withdraw that money from the account. So that's like a theft they are doing. So, but recently that has been improved a lot, sir, because organization has taken some positive steps, like they have started submission of their life certificate through online.
There is no need for people to come to the office.
Yeah, correct, sir. Yeah.
Then good. And, here, this is the problem you are telling. 37 crore of PF savings withdrawn illegally.
Yeah.
I think where did you read it? I don't know, but it has come in Hindu. It has come in Hindu. 1 minute. I am just seeing that also. Yeah. 37 crores of PF savings withdrawn illegally. So the first point you told, namely illegal withdrawings of amounts from the EPF account, is a big problem faced by say EPFO. But why Hindu will not allow us to read the materials? How to read it? Neeraj?
I think we'll have to take premium membership of Hindu, sir.
Oh. Acha. Several crores of employees' provident fund savings have been drained out through fraudulent withdrawals. At regional office in Mumbai as a result of officials of employees provident fund organization acting in connivance. So that is again another important issue. That some employees of EPFO are also acting in connivance. So that is very good. So that is one point, we will take it. And the next point I could see in the Google is that the pandemic has posed a big problem. Pandemic has posed a big problem in the functioning of this ESIC. So that is what they are also trying to mention about. Okay.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah. So
Yes,
let me ask next question. Yeah. I think this question we discussed the other day. The difference between EPFO and LIC, what is it?
Sir, in EPFO, basically 3 provisions have been made, like the contributors or employee who is contributing to the PF account, they will be offered PF amount on superannuation, or once they retire, they will be given some pension, and lastly they are linked with some like deposit linked insurance scheme, sir.
Whereas
so basically
LIC,
whereas in LIC there is no provision of pension. Only people are getting insured, they're getting insurance on certain terms and conditions.
Good, that's right. Now next question, what is the difference between GPF, EPF and PPF? Luckily for this, there is one link available. I am giving to you in our chat. Hello. Yeah. Now,
yes, sir.
I have given you that. Now we will see difference between GPF and EPF. GPF or General Provident Fund is a saving scheme available for government employees. Okay. EPF
Yes,
or Employees Provident Fund is a saving scheme available to employees in companies with more than 20 workers. EPF is a scheme available for people with more than 20 workers. PPF is available to everyone, whether employed, self-employed or unemployed. समझ गया?
Yes, sir.
इसमें eligibility, that is what we have discussed. Interest rate is GPF, it seems they are now paying 7.1%. EPF, they are paying 8.5%. PPF, you know what is the interest rate where they are paying? I think we discussed the other day. How much?
Yes, sir.
What
it
is
was
that?
7.1%.
Very good. And the maturity period for GPF is age of retirement. Age of retirement. And EPF maximum age is age of 58 years. In the case of PPF, it is 15-year term. And regarding premature closure, in the case of GPF, on leaving government service, GPF का expansion मेरा ख्याल से government provident fund, general provident fund, note कर लीजिए, general provident fund. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Premature closure on leaving government service, that can be closed. EPF can be closed on 2 months of unemployment. If there is a person having EPF account and he is not employed for 2 months continuously, then he can close it. In the case of PPF, after 5 years, he can close it on medical grounds and children's higher education. Could you understand? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Provident fund is basically a saving scheme designed to build a reliable retirement corpus in the form of lump sum amount at the time of retirement. Provident fund essentially provides financial security to elderly people. EPF is available to salaried people. Investment in these provident funds is a relatively low risk due to their government or statutory backing. Yeah. So these are the points given. I suggest you go through this in detail. I have given a link, paisabazar.com. Hello.
Yes, sir.
GPF is managed by Department of Pension and Pensioners Welfare under the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pension. Department of Pension and Pensioners Welfare and Ministry of Personnel and Public Services. Whereas this one, that is PPF, is maintained by Small Savings Organization. There is in post office. Okay. There are some informations given like GPF. The amount of subscription for GPF is fixed by subscriber himself. However, contribution rate should not be less than 6%. Maximum contribution is 100% of the employee's salary. Oh, Baba, can a government employee pay all the 100%? Yeah. GPF maturity, GPF contribution to GPF are exempted from income tax. The interest rate on GPF interest is also exempt from tax. Yeah. Yeah, that is what it is. Good. Any other point you would like to add regarding this GPF, EPF and also PPF? कुछ मन में आता है आपको? होगा तो बता दीजिए.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, EPF can also be transferred once a worker changes his company or institution, sir. There is no need to foreclose it. Yeah.
Whereas the question of GPF and all, ऐसा possibility नहीं है. PPF, you can transfer it from one branch to another branch or from one institution to another also. I think it must be possible. But nobody attempts it. For example, I have an account with SBI. I can get it transferred from SBI Mylapore to SBI at say Bombay also. It is possible. But nobody has been attempting in transferring SBI PPF to post office PPF. ऐसा तो कोई नहीं transfer करता है. Whether it is allowed, I am not sure about it. Okay, good. Next one, why EPFO is working as an organization but not a department under Labor Ministry? It's a very odd question. Have you thought about this? It's a very, only thing is Google to karna hai, or there is no other option. What is the difference between working as an organization and working as a department?
In my opinion, I'm not very much clear about it, but I can try, sir. Yeah, in organization, like you will be getting discretionary power to take any kind of decision.
Correct.
Whether like for management or for functioning or running the organization and all. But in a department, you will be given only a specific kind of functionality that you will have to perform.
Not only that, EPFO, it seems, is an autonomous body.
Yes,
it is a statutory body under the ownership of Ministry of Labor and Employment that is responsible for regulation management of provident funds in India. And EPFO is an autonomous EPFO, and also there is one more organization like this. What is that? Starting with the letter E. Same employees. There is one more.
ESIC.
Ah, super. At present, EPFO and ESIC work more like autonomous bodies run by trustees and board, respectively, under the administrative control of Ministry of Labor and Employment. Both bodies were created by an act of parliament. Okay. Then
Yes, sir.
who regulates EPFO? The Central Board of Trustees. EPF is a statutory body constituted by the central government and the provisions of Section 5A of Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1952. So it is being regulated by whom? Central Board of Trustees. Then they are asking, what are the autonomous organizations of labor administration? Do you know what are the autonomous organizations of labor administration? Any idea?
Sir, is it employee state insurance?
That is there. Okay. Then
And EPFO?
that is there. Apart from that, here they have given
Sir.
central government. Note it, please note it. Central government, industrial tribunal and labor courts. Central government, industrial tribunals and labor courts. That is one. Number two, there is one more institute, it seems, known as Central Labor Institute. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So this is this is what I got it when I searched in this. Who are the employees? Who is an exempted employee under the EPF Act? This I think you might not have studied. Have you studied this?
Yes, sir. Those who are not associated with any organized sector or informal employees like domestic workers, gig workers, all these are not covered under EPF.
Here, what the answer given is under Section 17 of EPF Act, organizations are exempted from depositing provident fund, both employees and employer shares with the EPFO, provided that they maintain their own account by creating a trust, but ensure compliance with the various provisions of the Act. I think this you might not have thought of. This is like this, you know, for example, when I was working in Indian Bank, we had an employees provident fund trust of our own, Indian Bank. So an IOB, like that, they had their own trust. So there was no need for them to deposit with the EPFO. I was not covered under EPFO. We were covered by Indian Bank Provident Fund rules only. Could you follow this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is a news for you, information for you. Which organizations are exempted from contributing to EPF under Section 17? Organizations are exempted from depositing provident fund with provided they maintain their own account by creating a trust, but ensure compliance with various provisions of the Act. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of autonomous organization? Hello.
Autonomous organizations are a statutory organization that has been carved or created by an act of parliament.
Apart from that, no, but there can be an organization which is not created by under the Act also. For example, we have autonomous colleges, autonomous Indian Institute of Technology, Loyola College, Stella Maris College. I know only these in South. They are all autonomous institutions. An autonomous institution is one that governs or controls itself rather than being controlled by anyone else. समझ गया? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a simple definition only. Autonomous का मतलब क्या है? You take your own autonomous universities नहीं होगा. Autonomous colleges we have. For example, Gindi Engineering College. It's an autonomous college. It conducts examinations by itself. It announces results without reference to the university which is issuing degree for it. So that way, an autonomous institution definition is that which is running by itself and is not controlled by others. Is UPSC autonomous? Hello?
Sir, it is a constitutional body, sir.
Being a constitutional authority, UPSC is amongst the few institutions which function with both autonomy, correct, and freedom, along with country's higher judiciary and lately the Election Commission. See, for example, UPSC, Election Commission, then Supreme Court, they are all autonomous and they are also having freedom. Where is the headquarters of UPSC?
It is in New Delhi.
Yeah, Dholpur House in New Delhi. Yeah. Is AIIMS autonomous? What is the expansion of AIIMS?
All India Institute of Medical Sciences.
It was created in the year 1956. It's as an autonomous institution through an act of parliament. What is the difference between an autonomous body and a statutory body? A statutory body deals with enforcing legislation for a country or state. Let me repeat. A statutory body deals with enforcing legislation for a country or state. An autonomous body is a company that regulates its own company law. समझ गया?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Who is the chairman of UPSC now? No idea. Chairman of UPSC. Pradeep Kumar Joshi, is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Pradeep Kumar Joshi. I think he is also a man from Patna. He has studied in Patna College, 1981. Pradeep Kumar Joshi. The current chairman of UPSC is Dr. Pradeep Kumar Joshi. Today, just information, up to date, there have been 30 chairmen of UPSC. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, who was the former chairman of UPSC? I'm not getting it. List of members of former chairman. If you go to upsc.gov.in, it is giving list of former members of commission. Members of commission not required. Chairman alone it is required. They are telling some 30 names, but they are giving only 26 names, 21 names. So thoda note kar lijiye, who was the previous chairman of UPSC? Hello?
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Who was the previous chairman of UPSC? Thoda note kar lijiye, find out that that may help us. Very good. Now, next question can be, I think that day you told correctly about what is the organized structure of EPFO.
Sir, it comes under the Ministry of Labor and Employment,
Hmm.
and the minister concerning that department acts as a chairman.
Hmm.
Then after, there is a board, that is Central Board of Trustee, who manages the operations of this organization.
Hmm.
And Chief Executive Officer
Hmm.
looks after the executive functionalities and all the operations related to this department,
Hmm.
who is also the Chief Central Provident Fund Commissioner.
Hmm.
Under Central Provident Fund Commissioner, we have Additional Provident Fund Commissioner.
Hmm. Good.
And under that we have like Regional Provident Fund Commissioner 1 and 2.
Hmm.
Below that we have Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner.
Hmm.
Below that we have Enforcement Officer and Account Officer.
Hmm.
Below that we have Section Officers.
Hmm.
Below that, to assist them, we have different Social Security Assistant.
Hmm.
And below that we have like office staffs and all, sir.
Mhm. I am just giving you one link now in our Zoom. I don't know whether it is fully useful. अब देखे मिला आपको?
Yes, sir.
मिला? इसमें EPFO structure, applicability function services. Here, employees provident fund organization, a structure of EPFO. Let us see that only. Structure of EPFO. Are you able to see it? Can you open it?
Yes, sir. I have opened it.
Yeah, you come down. There is one structure of EPFO. EPFO Act is administered by the Central Board of Trustees. If we look at the structure, it consists of Central Board and Executive Committee, which consists of the following. There is one Central Board, there is one Executive Committee. Under the Central Board, you have a chairman, a vice chairman, 5 central government representatives, 15 state government representatives, 10 persons representing employees, 10 persons representing employers. The Executive Committee, on the other hand, has a chairman, Central PF Commissioner. Achha. There only PF Commissioner is coming. 2 central government official representatives, 3 state government official representatives, 3 employers representatives, 3 employees representatives. समझ गया?
Yes, sir.
And the functions of EPFO, they have given. EPFO is performed. Can you read out that? Under below that, functions of EPFO.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. EPFO is performing the dual functions, one as the regulator of the act to see the implementation, and another one as the service provider. Its main function includes providing retirement benefits to private as well as government employees. Overall, it performs the functions of settling claims, maintaining individual accounts, and regulation of payments under pension scheme and others. In addition to this, EPFO performs the below mentioned functions. To issue the annual account slips to member of the fund. It performs the function of the fast settlement of claims. It also functions and sanctions the advances fastly. It looks after the progress of recovery of provident fund contributions. Functions of the executive committee formed under EPFO is opening sub-regional offices. They also create new regions and updating the old ones. They define work norms for all the staffs and officers of the organizations. They also identify the proposals for obtaining land and buildings, etc.
Very good, very good. So there is necessity for 2, I mean like 2 departments, they function. Very good. Continue with this. How does the scheme work? Contribution and interest. Pad lijiye.
Okay. The contribution towards Provident Fund is made at the rate of 12% of your basic salary plus dearness allowance. You and your employer both contribute 12% each, out of which 12% contributed by you goes directly to the EPF account, and the other 12% contributed by the employer goes to the EPF account as well as is diverted towards employee pension scheme. Generally, 3.67% goes to the EPF account and 8.33% goes towards pension scheme. All these contributions are then invested by a trust which generates an interest income at the rate which is decided by the government. Currently, for the fiscal year 2018-19,
Now,
the rate is
now this year it is 8.5.
5%. Yes, sir.
This year it is 8.50. Yeah.
Yeah. For the year 2020 and 21, this was 8.50. Further, though you make contributions monthly, the interest is calculated yearly on the amount standing to your credit as on the 1st April of that year. For the next year, the interest would be calculated on the accumulated balance in the EPF account, that is, the last balance plus total contributions plus last interest.
Let us understand interest calculations from below. Basic plus salary DA is equal to 30,000. Employees.
And they are offering rate of interest. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now it is 8.50. Employee contribution towards EPF 3,600. Employer's contribution towards EPS 2,500, 8.33%. Employer's contribution towards EPF. Same 12% that is divided into one is towards EPS and EPF. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Total contribution to EPF is 4,700. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So likewise it is offered. Good. Services offered by, come down. Other things are all mathematical. Come down. Services offered by EPFO.
Yeah. Under the EPFO, a number of services have been provided to different persons, including employers, employees, international workers, pensioners. A detailed description of all these services have been described here. First is UAN. UAN is the 12-digit universal account number allotted to a person or employee who is contributing towards the EPF. It is issued by the Ministry of Employment and Labour that works under the Government of India. UAN was launched by the current Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, in 2014 with an objective to link all the PF accounts and member IDs under the same umbrella.
No, I
Your
don't
Provident
know
Fund account.
why last 50, 60 years they have not done this and now suddenly they have done it. They can ask you some teasing question. Why all these years it was not done and this year only it was done? Patanai, I don't have an answer. You think, okay?
I think this might be because of that, like sir, earlier there were not much contribution made to the EPFO, like there were not much members. But yeah, but in the recent years, I think due to generation of like more jobs,
more institutions are included. Okay, let us take that.
So member numbers have also increased, so it was very tough to manage it. So they have decided one universal account number.
Super.
So that will make some process easy.
Yeah. And when was Aadhaar card introduced?
I think it was the year in 1952.
No. Aadhaar card.
Aadhaar card. Sorry. Sorry, sir.
Aadhaar card was introduced in the year 2009.
9. Yeah. Okay.
2009. Which organization is taking care of it? UIDAI.
DAI. Yes.
.gov.in. When was the first Aadhaar card issued? Vali, VALI, a resident of Megwalan Ka Moghala Kurawar district, Udaipur. Udaipur is in which state?
Rajasthan.
Correct. UIDA has generated 21 crore Aadhaar numbers since the issuance, so on. So, yeah. Who is the founder of Aadhaar?
Sir, it was an idea from Nandan Nilekani.
Nandan Nilekani. Correct. Good. What is the full form of Aadhaar? Is there any full expansion for that Aadhaar? UIDAI was created to issue unique identification numbers named as Aadhaar. Uska expansion kuch nahi hai. What is the full form of Aadhaar? Anybody else knows? What is the logo? Logo was designed by one Mr. Atul S. Pandey. Atul S. Pandey. Okay. Who is the present CEO of Aadhaar? Please note it. Saurabh Garg. Note kar lijiye. Saurabh Garg. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now we will go back to that place where we. Please continue with that.
So
Sorry.
UN was launched by the current Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, in 2014 with an objective to link all the PF accounts and member IDs under the same umbrella. Your Provident Fund account is managed by the number provided as UAN, and it will remain the same irrespective of your job change. UAN offers services like linking of previous member IDs with the present ID, updated UAN card, updation of PF passbook, SMS regarding the contribution in PF, and etc. Now, the second services that are being offered by EPFO is registration of establishments online. Employers can easily get registered under EPFO portal by providing the basic details as asked by the Ministry of Labor and Employment. It can be done by sitting at home, online, and you are not required to make any extra effort to visit the EPFO office.
Good. Then PF withdrawal.
Third is PF withdrawal. Withdrawal from PF account can be done in case a person is unemployed for more than 2 months or did not get any job within a time period of 60 days from leaving the previous job. So in such case, a person can online withdraw from PF account. Fourth is UAN members e-Seva for employees. A person having active UAN number can take advantages of e-Seva portal. Under this portal, members can see the details such as KYC, profile, service history, UAN card, and EPF passbook, EPF tracking status, etc. Fifth function is online payment of PF. From September 2015, it is mandatory for all the organizations to pay PF online. The employer can make the payment of PF by two types. They can opt through EPFO website or by visiting the employer's bank website. Currently, only a few banks are providing this service, and it includes bank.
Now it would have increased. This article is old. Abhi increase ho gaya hoga.
Okay, sir.
Because nowadays, even Reserve Bank services, etc., they are given to all private banks also, like Federal Bank, Karur Vysya Bank, like that. Almost all the banks are permitted to do government service. Similarly, this would have been allowed to others also. Yeah. Now continue.
Thank you, sir.
Grievance service.
Grievance services. It is the one-stop solution for any problem related to EPFO. Under the grievance system of EPFO, you can make a complaint regarding any issue, that is PF transfer, withdrawal of PF, etc. Introduction of grievance services online has reduced these issues of the people to a large extent. Now, next functionality is SMS and missed call services. To avail these services, UAN must be activated. Once it is activated, then members of the EPFO can get required details by sending an SMS to the given number. The format of SMS is EPFO HO space UAN, followed by the first 3 characters of the message in the language preferred. Members can also get the details by giving a missed call on the given number.
Sometimes To tease you, they can ask you what is this number also. Telephone number.
Okay, sir.
Next, help desk.
Yeah. Help desk inoperative account. Inoperative PF accounts are those accounts in which no contribution has been made since the last 3 years. So these accounts convert in the inoperative mode. But from February 2015, inoperative account help desk has been set up online. And by using this help desk, members can settle down their PF account. Now, next is coverage certificate for international workers. Members who are working out of India but do have a social security agreement in India can get a certificate of coverage. It is initiated by the government of India for the benefit of employer and employee both. Next is passbook and claim status. On the EPFO portal, members can claim the status and check your passbook, etc. by providing the UAN credentials.
Very good, very good. So we will stop with this. This will come to an end soon, anytime. So like that,
Okay,
we should be going on studying new materials. We have only one boy with us now. Venne Satyanarayana, you are from which state?
Andhra Pradesh, sir. I'm from
Andhra.
Andhra Pradesh.
Oh, very good. What is your degree?
Master, sir, in nuclear physics.
Pardon. What is it you studied?
Master, sir, Masters, PG, post-graduation.
Postgraduate in?
Nuclear physics, sir.
Oh, nuclear physics. Oh, Baba. When did you complete it?
2017, sir.
Okay. Are you working somewhere?
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm working as a village secretary, Panchayat secretary.
Village secretariat.
Yes, sir. Village secretary, Panchayat secretary.
Achha,
Village development.
Where is it? Which village?
In village in my mandal, sir.
Andhra Pradesh. What are the functions
Yes,
of village secretary?
So the basic functions is enforcing Panchayat Raj Act, sir, and also building assets to the Panchayat, sir. And third function is implementing the social welfare programs of the government of Andhra Pradesh.
How come a small boy, young boy is being posted for that? Does it not require some experience in managing it?
Yes, sir. Definitely, it requires some experience. That's why I'm recruited as a junior, sir.
You are a junior.
Above me,
Above you,
yes,
there are people.
Yes, sir.
What is the pay like you are getting? You are getting the pay like a clerical staff or officer?
Currently, I'm in probation. They're giving 15,000 rupees. But after my probation, I will pay band is 15,000 to 45,000, sir.
45,000. So you will get an increase after confirmation.
No, sir. It is 15,000 band to 45,000. So it is basically group 4, sir.
Oh. Acha. Good. So now in your village, everything is computerized or it's all done manually?
Most of the things are computerized, sir. Even government of Andhra Pradesh is trying to computerize everything, sir, by using local secretariat system is there, sir.
Okay.
They have established a new system.
Oh, very good. Anytime this may stop, Neeraj and Vinay, because 40 minutes time will be over. We will stop with this. Next, when would you like to meet Neeraj? Tell me, because you are only the permanent person who is coming. Neeraj, when would you like to meet again?
Sir, I'm okay with
today,
any time, sir.
But yeah, when you are Neeraj, you are okay with any day, na?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So tomorrow we will take leave. First, we will take leave. Probably second se shuru karega.
Sir,
Okay.
8 o'clock, sir. Time.
No, same time, 8 o'clock.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
That will be better. Vinay, if you want to come, you can also come. We can have discussions. And
okay, sir. I will come, sir.
Yeah, my main idea is if you study something more and then come prepared to put questions to others, raise doubts to others, that will be very interesting. समझ गए आपको?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand.
Yeah. Now tell me, Mr. Neeraj, which small finance bank has partnered with Cholamandalam MS General Insurance to launch a women-specific health insurance policy called Chola Sarva Shakti policy? Which small finance bank, perhaps you may not